Hi.
See if I can
Hi.
get this. How you doing, Sophia?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Why am I sideways? Do that, and then aha.
There you
There
go.
we go. All right.
Welcome to Sophia's studio. I'm your host, Sophia Haber Brock, and today I'm joined by comedian, radio personality, family man, husband, father, rock and roller, Mets fan, and more, Jim Breuer. So thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Sophie. How's it going?
Great. So actually, back in December, I met you at after one of your shows at the Stress Factory,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
actually, I was planning to ask you to do an interview then, but I kind of chickened out of asking you, and it's like 5 months later of hounding Vinny to help me get in contact with you. But um, you actually gave me some really good advice that stuck with me, and it was to do interviews to make connections with people and not do it for like the recognition. Or I remember you said something like, "Don't do it to be in the magazines," and I thought that was funny because like who reads magazines anymore? But
I aged myself.
yeah.
Yeah.
um, but I thought that was so cool that you told me that because that's like why I love to do these interviews. I love to like connect with people and tell stories and like hear people's experiences. So it kind of like reassured me I was on the right track with what I'm doing. So my question to you, oh, actually, I know in your book that you wrote, like one of the big themes in that is to like stay true to yourself. And I know that's something that's really important to you.
Yeah.
So, um, how has like being true to yourself helped you in your life and your career?
It makes sure the most important thing in life for me has been grounded from day one. And what that includes is having morals, having faith, having a focus on not what the world wants or what the world insists, but the natural order of life, which is it's caring for one another, it's having morals, it's doing the right thing. And many of us, we're brought up in a system from school on where you're you're ego driven and vanities, and you want to be a star, and all those are false, idle, false. It's worse than any other drug. You just keep wanting more and more and more, and you'll find yourself doing things you would never ever do if you weren't chasing that goal. Meaning, um, if you're not a drug addict by nature, and all of a sudden you meet one of your idols, or you can get a certain part, or if I start hanging out with this one, I mean, I don't do drugs, but I mean, it's kind of cool that I'm here with this one. Yeah, I guess and that's how fast you snap, and then you're on a path. And it's happened time. Doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how famous you get. People OD. They leave their families. They get depressed. They kill themselves. It doesn't matter. So the most important thing in life for me always, stay grounded, stay true to yourself. That's the number one thing, and then that bleeds into almost all my decisions.
And also from your book, I know that like when you're first starting, you watched other comedians and like learned from them. So what were some like influential experiences with other comedians that you learned from?
um i learned I learned to take chances. I learned to stop trying to appease everyone else. Just know what you do is funny and let them come to you. Don't I went through a stage years ago. You might not even been bored. You probably weren't born. So when I was after the film Half Baked, I I found myself with a huge following that was loved marijuana. And not there anything wrong with that, but they thought I was that guy. And although I was making money and I was selling out everywhere and people would throw things on stage and here's some grass, I found myself getting exhausted trying to pretend I'm something I'm not. And someone really helped me. I think the thing was the minute you stop being part of the entertainment business and just be yourself, then it will start becoming entertaining. And that was one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. And that's what happened. But fear would always keep me away. Oh, what if I lose them? If I start talking about my family and blah, blah. But that's a big one. That was so. And then there was also, when I first started, I remember watching someone on TV doing an interview and I wanted to be like them. And the guy was being interviewed and he said, what would you say to anyone out there who wants to be a young comedian? And I grew up where my mom was always like, you got to fall back on something and everything's money driven. Money. How are you going to make money there? I want to be a physical therapist. Well, how much money is it? People don't really make money. And people make so many decisions on what money you will make. And that's a tragic mistake for many people. I remember he looked right at the camera and he went, don't listen to your mother. He goes, she wants you to fall back on something. I went, oh my God, look, is this guy in my house? And he goes, just think about it. Anything you want to do, why would you put 40% over here of energy and 30% of energy here? And he goes, if you're going to do anything, put 100% energy, full steam ahead. If you're going to become a comedian, you're not going to be a star overnight. People go to college, they fail, they become drug addicts, they start doing this and blah, blah, blah. And then when they come out of college, nothing is guaranteed. They're in debt, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's no different than any other journey. Just you put 100% into it, believe it's going to happen, set the goal and just keep going after it. No matter how many things fall in your way and throw you off course, 100%, this is what I'm going to do. And you put your energy in. That was also really good advice, not just from me, but I tell that to everyone. I go, why? Even my kids okay. I want to do, it bothers me when my daughter goes, oh, I want to go into psychology, but I don't want to put all my energy into that. I'm like, well, then why even do it? Why even do it? Well, just take your time. Do you find something you're really passionate about and go for it? Well, I don't know, does that make money? Who's telling you this? Just go. Don't worry about money because there's a million people out there. I live in a neighborhood that's filled with all people that make a lot of money. All the kids are miserable. Half the people are miserable. They don't spend time to enjoy life. They don't spend time just to take a walk, take a hike, understand what the real balance of life is and helping one another. You can't take all this with you. So follow your passion, put 100% into it, and just always do the right thing. And sometimes it seems like it's not going to work, but in the end, it always works. We don't know how long. You plant a seed here and then boom, right over here, it starts growing. You go, oh, wow, this is from what I did. Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. That's wild. So that's some of the best advice I had.
So how long did that take you to learn? Like in the beginning of your career, like, did you struggle with those things too? Or
oh my God, yeah. But from the first I wanted to be a star. No, I wanted to wear leather pants. I wanted to be the white Eddie Murphy. He wore red leather. I was going to wear black leather. Then he came out purple leather. I was going to wear like red and black and look like a rock star. I was going to get exotic animals to fly in from other countries. I wanted to star in everything. So the first 10 years, because I started doing, I dedicated stand-up comedy to get me to everything in 1989. By 1999, I've been on multiple television shows, multiple deals, movie appearances, just started a movie, was on Saturday Night Live, but I met so many entertainers, and what I saw in the entertainment business I was like, this is nothing. This is soulless. I don't know how to describe it. It's fake. It's soulless. It blew me away. We're like, wait a minute, you're such a nice guy in television, but you're a real not good human being. And is that girl of age? Like, how's this not out in the public? And you, oh my God, it was very shocking. Oh shoot. Sorry.
Okay.
You there? I'm coming
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
I don't know how to turn off like where I get phone calls. So I'm like, ah. So if it goes out for a second, it's because phone call and I hit the decline. And so the next 10 years, I said I was going to do everything I want to do, meaning I want to walk away. I completely left. I had a daughter, started a family, moved out to the freaking woods. I mean, I went from a Long Island house on top of each other to New York City to I want to slow it down. And then another big change was when I lived out here, we would have men's night out. We have fathers all hang out and stuff like that. And we were at a tavern and this woman came to me and she goes, "Oh, you're the famous guy in town." I went, and she goes, "No, you're the guy, right?" I went, "Yes, I'm the guy." She goes, "But you're like really filthy and you're like the drug guy, right? I can't bring my kids to you because you're the drug guy." I went, "What?" I got so angry with this human being. But at the same time, it hit me and I went, well, she feels that way. How many other people feel that way? And why do they feel that way? Where did that? And I kept asking, like, where do you get that? Have you ever seen me live? No. But you think I'm the drug guy. Well, yeah. Aren't you like all the kids talking about? Like, are you talking about a film experience? Like, what are you talking about? And that moment changed because then I realized I'm really going to only do things that I'm going to open the door to society to I trust who I am. I trust that I'm a good person. I trust that I'm a good husband. I trust that I'm a good father. I trust that I'm a good friend. I trust my morals, my faith. I trust all of it. And from now on, I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there. You're going to see me be funny, but there's times where I'm going to let my heart out and I'm going to let you be. I'm not going to hide that I take care of my dad. I'm not going to hide that the kids mean more than me than anything else. I'm not going to hide that. No, I don't go cheating on my wife. Me and my wife were best friends and we have ups and downs in the marriages and I'm going to let all that in. And I'm going to use my stand-up comedy and all that to give. It's a new form of healing and therapy. So to answer your question, it took a while. It took 15, 18 years before I settled into that path. And now, 2008, 18, that was God, a long time ago. So.
And do you think like you have it all figured out now, or like, is there more to learn always?
Oh my God, there's so much more to learn. It never ends. It never ends. But I never look over my shoulder. I always look straight ahead. And I also make sure I don't get stuck in the same spot for a long time. I'm starting to realize your best moments in work, in family, in life, your best moments are like, oh, I got the biggest rage. If you stop that, just like being in high school, Tyler's the best quarterback in the history. But when he leaves school, he's probably not going to be a great quarterback. But Tyler's going to be stuck there for there's a lot of Tyler stuck right there. And then you see 6-7 years and you're like, Tyler, is that you? What have you been up to? Tyler's about 450 bills now. He's depressed. He works just lifting up stones. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but you can't stop. You always got to keep looking forward. And how do I keep getting better and better and better? At least that's what I do.
Yeah, me and my friends talk about all the time, like, oh, where do we think this person's going to be in 10 years? Like someone who's like peaking in high school or something. Like we find that so funny to think about.
You'd be surprised. You'd be very surprised. Who starts accelerating in the race and who just crashes hard into the tree. Oh my, I did not see that comment. Or, oh my gosh, wasn't that the quietest person in high school? Are they running for Congress? What's going on here? Yeah, you're going to be shocked.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Okay, so how did you like get the bug for comedy? Like, were you always funny when you were little, or like did you just wake up and was like, oh, I'm going to be a comedian?
I think we watched a lot of television shows, and a lot of it was comedy. And I was really little when I'd watch with my parents. But I think when it really kicked in was in around fifth grade, somewhere around there, in fifth or sixth grade. Someone asked my parents if I can watch or I can listen to a record, an album. And it was Steve Martin, who you probably don't even know who that is. And Steve Martin, who's a now known as like an actor or whatever. He hasn't been doing stuff in a while, but he was one of the first, if not the very first comedian to sell out arenas. And he was doofy. He had balloon wrapped around his head and a fake nose and glasses. And I was completely blown out of my mind that someone goes in front of a crowd and just does comedy like this and you can make records and stuff. So then I was watching more and more and more and more. But around 16 is when I started writing and really imagining that if I'm not going to be doing this, I'm going to be fronting a heavy metal hard rock band. It was either way. And the comedy came a lot easier.
Well, you also got to do music too, right? You also got to follow that path after your comedy?
Yeah. And
a little bit.
I gave up on that, but I also realized it's another thing. It's like being the Forrest Gump of stand-up comedy. I grew up going, I want to hang out Metallica. Boom, I became friends with Metallica. I want to work with this actor and that actor. Oh, wow, yes, working with these actors. I want to hang out with my favorite team, the Mets. Oh my God, I'm hanging out with Mets. I want everything I said I wanted to do. I want to sing with AC/DC. I sing with Metallica. And in my head, I visualized it as I'm going to be a star, blah, blah. I didn't visualize it as just moments in time, which are so gratifying if you just allow it just to be that. But yeah, I've gotten to do a lot of cool stuff. But none of that compares to like the lunch I had yesterday with my youngest daughter. I picked her up from school. She had study hall, which then ended school. I said, let's go get lunch. She's like, can we get wings? I said, sure, let me look for a place that has wings. And we went, she's like, I know where they have sesame. All right, we went, got sesame wings. And she started talking all deep about life and structure and the world. And Dad, why do we learn this in school and that in school? It doesn't help us in life. Why don't they teach you, like, you ask great questions? And we talked for 2 hours. And I can guarantee I'll remember that moment much longer than singing with the rock star I never thought I'd sing with. Not that I would take those moments away, but they're just moments in time.
Okay, and something I really wanted to ask you is about your laugh. So your laugh is like so iconic, and when I saw the show, I was like, okay, anyone who hears your laugh knows it's you. Like it's
Yeah, yeah,
iconic.
yeah.
So has your laugh like evolved when
I
you're doing comedy?
I don't even know, to be honest with you. I didn't realize it was a thing until at least 15 years ago,
Hmm.
where people go, you just, because I remember a comedian going, do you realize every time you giggle, it ignites the entire crowd? Really? And then yeah, I didn't, I still don't think it's as, I, I, I don't realize it as much as I don't think of it as that. I mean, clearly it is,
Yeah.
but I don't, I don't, I don't realize it. I don't get it because I'm not trying to do it. I really, when I, before I was even a stand up, I would hang out in the street corner and I was hang out in school. I was the class clown. So I enjoy everyone having a good time all the time. And if we're stuck somewhere, so I would tell stories and I'd laugh at the stories while I'm in the middle of the stories because I'm a visual, I visualize things. So that's how I write things. I see them, I visualize them, and then I act them out. So while I'm in the process of doing stand up, even when I'm live, I'm seeing where I'm going and it starts cracking me up. I'm entertaining myself, which I feel has been extremely important for me. I need to entertain myself or you're not going to be entertained. And that's where the little giggle or it comes from a real place. I don't go like, oh, that joke sucked. And then I can't even do it right now because it's fake. But yeah, I don't I don't know if I always laughed like that. I don't know. I don't know. I think I did. I think I did.
Yeah, I mean like it's your job to make other people laugh. I would hope you laugh at your own jokes. Like
Oh, I do. I crack myself up, thank God, sometimes.
that's good. Um, so you worked on SNL. So
Mm.
like what was it like? Like who were some of the people that you met on SNL that like you really connected with or who really influenced you?
Um, I don't, you know, I don't know if there was so much freaking gnats. Get out of here. Um, y- y- I don't think anyone really influenced me, but my I went closer to the comedians because we all understand each other. So I was on a great cast. I was with Will Ferrell, and which my kids are always like, "Wait a minute, you worked with Will Ferrell, Dad?" Yeah. Oh my God, you didn't tell us. Well, I want to tell you about my career every day. Um, so, but uh, Tracy Morgan, he would say things to me that was so, we were more of a friendship thing, and he'd get all deep and spiritual, and he'd say things like, "Yo, Jim," I'd be in the middle trying to write and go, "Tracy, wouldn't it be funny if we did this?" And he's like, "Yo, Jim, you need to be a father." I'm like, what? He goes, you change as a man once you become a father, man. You got a kid spirit. You should become a father. You don't belong in this world. I'm like, what? Yeah, all right. Well, let me give you this idea. And he was an influence on a human level, on a deeper spiritual thing. So comedy wise, You know who was an influence? I could say this. Molly Shannon. She played the character Mary Catherine Gallagher, which at the time everyone loved this character. So I didn't get to do any of my characters yet. I'm still trying to get on the show. And Molly Shannon did this character. She committed to it. And I stood on the side of the stage because I was in the beginning of the sketch and then I was off and I watched. And I'd always cheer everyone on. I always hoped everyone did great. She crushed so hard. I remember looking at her and looking at the crowd going, ah. And I went, I don't want to do little sketches. I want to do sketches that do that. And she lit a fire under my rear end. So comedy wise, Molly Shannon on SNL, deeper spiritualized Tracy Morgan, hands down. That was my two big inspirations while I was at SNL.
And yeah, I know that you're really spiritual too, right? So like, what were some of your most notable like spiritual experiences?
Well, there's a lot to tell. It's all, and to me, it's individual experiences and how far and wide you're willing to expand your thought process, and just listen and entertain that thought or feeling. So I'll give you, gosh, I don't even know how to, there's so many. I mean,
Yeah, it's kind of a broad question.
yeah, it's a very broad question. So I'll give you one and you decide what it is. It's now again, there's tons. The worst pain I ever experienced in life was losing my father, but I got to hold him to the very end. I begged God my whole life, no matter where I was, I'm like, God, please, all I want is, I don't want my father to be alone. I want to be there when my father has to go. And I would do this all the time. And so that moment came, I got to hold him. It was a powerful experience. And I highly suggest it for anyone not to fear. If you know someone's going, don't fear holding them. Don't fear watching them go. It's the most powerful, beautiful, it's empowering, it's enlightening. You can't explain, and you get in touch with what real humanity is about. It's not about Lady Gaga and her tweets or LeBron James or whatever any of these people have to say, or science tries to define. Science can't define instinct and love and spirituality. A lot of people put their heads to, oh, sorry, you can, don't. And you can, but numbers are also manipulated by people that are being paid. So with that said, I hold my dad to the end. Now, when I lost him, it was about a month and a half, 2 months later. And I pray, however you want to. I shouldn't say pray because some people don't like that word. I talk to. I go, God, I just want to know. I accept whatever happens, but will I ever feel him again? I don't need to physically see him. I know that's impossible, but do I feel his energy? Do I feel, because this is so painful. I just want to know if there's something. I know there's an anybody. And while I'm doing that, I start hearing this tapping. And I look, matter of fact, oh shoot, hold on. I'm gonna tell you. So I'm go in my house. And so this happened in this room here. That stuff's there because of the cats. So I'm in here crying. I'm like, Dad, did we become anything? And the window starts tapping. And it's that window. And I go walking to the window, and there's a cardinal flying into the window, and he's hitting his wings against it. So then I look, and the cardinal goes on that little branch and just starts staring at me and starts going, I'm going, what the? All right, that's weird. So I started walking away, and then the thing started hitting it again. And I was like, what? Part of me is like, Dad, I don't talk bird. Like, you want me to get bird feed? Like, what do you want me to do? Should I not let the cats out? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. And we are so deprogrammed to not even have that thought process or even talk to anyone because it's so far out there and weird. But then what happened was, starting the next morning, in the room that I held my father in when he passed, down there was tapping on the window, and I looked out from my bedroom like, what the hell is that? And I went downstairs. Who's that freaking cardinal? And then I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then he would go to the next one, and then he'd go around the house, always back to that one. Well, this went on every single day, and it would deflect me from crying really hard, and because you get primal cries when you lose someone. Your mouth opens when no one's around you, like, and you'd share it with some people, and some people are like, oh, don't you know that cardinals are spirits and they're angels? I'm like, okay, yeah, but I just don't know how to, like, why is it here? Is it here to give me comfort? Is it here to, and then you talk to someone else and they're like, oh my God, so you really believe that? You really believe that? It's a freaking bird. It sees its reflection. It's trying to attack it. It's a male bird. It's all it's doing, idiot. All right, I guess that makes sense too. But this bird lasted a year and a half every day. Boom, 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 boom. Went through the winter, went through the spring, went through the following summer. And, I talk about on stage, it did become a joke. We filmed it, and my kids were like, can you tell Grandpa to stop banging on the window on the weekends? Because it's annoying. It's so annoying if it's him. And so I'd have people come here and stay from Florida, and they're like, we're on vacation, kill the bird already. So everyone knew the bird. And the thing lasted a year and a half. And then a year and a half later, we were on vacation in Turks and Caicos, and I had one of those primal cries of, arr! And at that moment, I stopped and I let my father go. I talked to God. I said, God, I am so sorry that I kept him here. And I talked to my dad. I'm like, I'm so sorry that I kept you here. I can't keep crying like this. You're gone. It is what it is. I want to move on in life. I want to think of you, and I want to laugh. And I just want to move on. I want to think of who you are. I want to see. I don't want to cry anymore. That's what life is. They should have taught me this when I was young, instead of Ponce de Leon and algebra. And if I can't concentrate, they'll give you a drug because you got, quote, ADHD, which is what I call kids hate and know how boring and stupid this all is. So that's why they don't concentrate. You give a child anything that they're into and they will excel. So with that said, I let the bird go. I let my dad go. When I came home, my father-in-law, the first thing he says, he was watching our cats, and he goes, hey, that bird stopped hitting him. The bird left. And at this point in my life, I'm so tapped into looking into higher spirits and moments and all that, and we don't know, and blah, 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 that I actually laughed of how I was like, of course he left. He left. That's just mind blowing. Now, if I didn't go through that process, I wouldn't think that way. Would it have happened anyway? If I didn't do the process when I was in the living room, was that bird going to be there anyway? I don't know. But in my world, it did. Energy moves things. We have so much we have so much power that we don't know about. Telepathic, and it's oh, that's crazy. No, it's not. You think of someone, you call them, and they go, "Oh my God, you were just on my mind." Yes, that's deeper than everyone realizes, except for the phones and the computers and the school and the education and the television show and the films and the TikTok. I mean, it's all meant to distract you 24/7, because the minute I believe this exists, and the world does everything it can to distract it. They're getting to politics, getting to sports, follow this, read the bottom, because while you're watching this, and it's meant to distract you. And the only time you start realizing this is when you go back in the nature and you just quiet and be still with no phone, no nothing. So, but the funny part is, my father-in-law, when I told him I let my dad go, and he goes, "Oh, for Christ's sake, are you real?" They're birds, they migrate. And I love that story, because that just shows it's not to be debated. There's nothing you can say to convince me it's anything else. And there's nothing I could say to convince him it's anything else. That's just my journey, my style of living, and it really works well. It's amazing. It's powerful. And for him, I hope it works out for you.
Actually, I've like grown up like, so my dad's really spiritual, and he's had like a bunch of spiritual experiences too. And I've kind of grown up with like that knowledge of stuff. So I'm really interested in that kind of stuff. And all the time I'll have like those experiences. Like the other day I was thinking about one of my friends that I haven't seen in like over a year. And then the next day she texts me and she's like, "Oh, I miss you. Like I've been thinking about you. Like, can we make plans?" I was like,
I got a great, you just reminded me of one. I was, the person I really, 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 that first opened me up to all this was my great friend, Jimmy Shaka. And we were high school buddies, and we talk really deep and heavy, and go far out there. And what is this for? And why is that? And blah, blah, blah. And when I moved to Florida, my parents moved to Florida, and that's when I started doing stand-up. And he was going to be a musician, and he was Long Island, New York, and he started singing. But we lost touch with each other, because back then there were no cell phones, no computers. You lose someone's number, it's over. It's it. You can't find them. You got to call another. Oh, you don't have his number. Oh, dude, whatever. So I'm searching for Jimmy now. Once I started doing stand-up nonstop. I wanted to tell him about the journey I started, because we made a pact. You follow your music, I'll follow my stand-up. We're going to heal people. We're going to change that. All right. So a little over a year went by. I went back to Long Island and went looking for Jimmy. And his mother said, "Oh, he moved to Florida. I don't have his number here, but give me your number. And when he calls back, I'll have him send the number." And I couldn't, whatever. She kept not sending the number and forgetting it and whatever. So I get my first road gig. I'm really young. I was working at a restaurant, and they said, "You got to go to this place if you could make it there." It was a 5-hour drive. They told me I had maybe 6 hours. I had a 6-hour window. I had to take 5 hours. This is going to get me weeks of work. I went, okay. So I said, "I got to get out of work right now." And I left, and they were going to fire me. I drive to this place in Jacksonville, Florida. And I go to the gig and the first show is canceled. Not enough people showed up. Second show, there's 10 people, whatever. The next night, same thing. And the owner goes, listen, kid, I'm not going to be able to pay you. I said, well, I don't even have gas money to get home. He goes, I'll give you gas money, but I can't. Like, we didn't have people show up. And so the headliner goes, hey man, here's how we're going to do this. There's a club at the Holiday Inn tomorrow across the street. We'll go. I said, I don't have money. He goes, I'll buy you drinks. Don't worry about it. Come there. It's at 9:00. So I go over there. At the time in my 20s, everyone's in their 40s. Like, to me, that's so old. Like, I'm really old to you. This is where you're walking the club and there's a whole bunch of me's. You're gonna go, wah, get out of here. So I walk in, I make it to the bar, it's packed. I'm getting out of there. I swear to God on my kids' lives. As I'm about to walk out the door, the voice is so empowering. It's so empowering and so amazing. It's striking a chord in me. And I asked the bouncer, I went, is that the club music or is that? He goes, it's a band. I went, that's a live person singing? He goes, yeah. I went, I have to see this person. I got to see if this person looks like. It's Jimmy Shaka.
Wow.
And I swear to God, it was like being a movie. And I'm going through the crowd and I got my eyes on him and he's on stage and he's singing and he went, holy crap, Breuer, what Jimmy? It's just we're in the middle of nowhere, Florida. Like what? Two Long Island kids, and we were both like, I believe, and now I watch Star Wars in a whole different way. Use the Force, Luke. I sense a disturbance in the Force. I get it. It's awesome.
Wow, that's crazy.
Crazy. Coincidence? For some people.
That's like too good of a coincidence, though. Like,
that's insane.
Yeah.
And I've got a million of those. And once you start tapping into them, you're going, it's pretty awesome.
Okay. And
probably me and your dad could probably talk for a while.
Yeah, you guys probably could. Okay, one other thing I wanted to ask about. So I know you did something with Clerks, right?
Oh God, yeah.
So
it's a bad experience.
Should I ask about it or no?
Well, go ahead, ask your question and I'll tell you what the deal is.
Okay, because I actually have like a connection with like Kevin Smith and Ming Chen from like the Comic Book Men, because I don't know, my film teacher like knows them or something, and I did a few segments for like my school's news. So I don't know, I kind of had a connection to them, so I thought it was cool that you had a connection with them too.
Well, here's the connection. I love the movie. It was one of my favorite movies. I loved everything, how just underground it was, how they did himself, blah, blah, blah. I still think to this day, for some reason, and I'm just going on nothing, that he don't like me. Okay, and that's okay, because it has nothing to do with me. Before Saturday Night Live, I was going to be on a sitcom, me and Dave Chappelle. And while we were filming and while the commercials were airing, it was going to follow this big hit show called Home Improvement way back in the day. And they fired me a week before it aired. And I was under contract with Touchtone Television, which is a Disney. It's under Disney. So the being fired was devastating. I was in the cover of TV Guide. I was in the major paper. I'm going to be making $75,000 a week. For a young kid, it was just mind blowing. It was the best thing that could ever happen. Which, by the way, another spiritual moment. I knew my marriage was going to end. My eyes were already wandering. I'm like, oh yeah, everyone in California, they cheat and and I was seeing it. And I was seeing it with my own two eyes. Like, oh, wow. I guess that's what it is. Like, if you want to be a star, you do this even though that was something I vowed in my life I would never be. Here I am ready to be it. And I begged God to save our marriage. I swear to God, I went, God, I'm in trouble. This is going to end our marriage. I don't know how I get around it. And what happens is like, you're fired. What? I didn't ask for that. Well, you don't get to choose what I pick, dummy. So at the time, the next day, I got a TV show that I tried out for Fox Television. I got it. And then Disney said, you're not allowed to do it because you're under our contract. So right out of the gate, I was pissed, angry, hated Hollywood. Now I realize I'm a slave and I can't even get out. You fired me. And now I got another TV show and you're not going to let me do it because I'm under your contract. And you want to put me in something else. I was not in a good place. And then they said, we got this other project that you're going to be part of. Like, do you like the movie Clerks? And went, yeah, oh my God, yes. I said, we're developing a TV show and you're going to be like, oh my God, it's a dream come true. The first week that we're ready to start auditioning, they let go of Kevin Smith. They got him out of it. They got rid of him. They're like, so you're gonna get rid of the creator of the entire project and you're gonna continue with Clerks. Because that's not so all this was all part of me seeing so much of Hollywood, so much and we end up filming the pilot episode. They then fired one of the other actors 6 weeks later, and we had to refilm the whole thing again. Then they said they were picking it up to start airing in whatever November, and then September came, and my agent's like, "You got to move out to California, blah blah blah." And then they said, it did get picked up. So, but I heard through grumblings or whatever, like people were like mad at me, like, you try to do I'm like, dude, you don't know the story. So until you know the story, you're talking out of your rear end.
Yeah, I just was wondering because I thought it was cool that like we had that connection, but I don't have to include that in the video if you don't want me to.
You can't. No. To me, the more truth out there and the more stories out there and the more whatever, I don't have anything to hide. I have nothing to hide. Good stories, bad stories, humiliating stories. Humility is the best thing for any individual in order for them to grow as a human. If you don't have humility, you're going to have a lot of problems in life. You're going to let ego ruin everything.
And are you working on anything right now or plan to work on anything in the future?
I have a couple of things I'm planning on. I just want to do stand-up. I want to film what I'm currently talking about. I'm going to tour the end of the year. And this road gig that I have coming up in Orlando in the following couple months, I'm going to start writing a film. Whether it becomes something, it becomes something. I haven't done this in 20 years, but I'm doing it out of passion. I'm not going to think I'm going to sell it. I'm going to do it because I feel it's going to touch and move lives. And it's all true story stuff. And I think I know the beginning, the ending, and I'm just going to go for it starting this Friday is the first time. So if it becomes something, it becomes something. So I'm looking at that. And the next year I'm looking to put together a project called Funny How God Works. And they're all the spiritual stories that have happened where I tell all the stories and have a beginning, ending. and I'm in the process of finding the funny. It's good to go deep and heavy, but I want people to be able to laugh as well.
Wow, that's really cool. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
yeah,
I'm excited to hear about them.
me too. And I may start working it out, to be dead honest with you, at the Stress Factory in New Jersey.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah. So
I'll definitely check it out if it does come around. That'd be
it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. It'll probably
Okay.
be on Tuesday. It'll probably be Tuesday nights, and it'll be called Funny How God Works.
Cool. Awesome. Oh, and if your film does end up working out, if you need any PAs,
Oh, yeah.
I'm here.
Done. All right. Sounds good.
Yep. I'd love to be a part of it.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, that's everything I wanted to ask. So thank
Well,
you.
cool.
So
I
much.
wish you the very best. Stay grounded. And you are beautiful from the inside. It beams out of you. So keep spreading that joy and that energy. And I wish you the very best. Although I don't think you're going to need much of it. I think you already got it.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Take care.
Wow, he was awesome. I loved him so much. He was so great. Yay, I felt so comfortable. Like, yay, I loved his stories. He made me laugh. Like, it was so funny when he like got up. Oh my God. I love that. Yay, it went perfectly. Best interview ever. Yeah. When I saw you laughing, you were like, yeah. I was looking at you, I was like, oh God, don't laugh. Oh my gosh. And you know how I mentioned that thing, I was like, if you need PAs, he's like, done.
Cool.
Oh, and what he said at the end was so sweet. Oh. Bye. Hey, you're not including this. This is not in the film. Cut.